let me tell you a little bit about our school. So we have a number of great teachers working with Heaven, who are all, I was going to say specialists in their subject. They're all very well equipped in their subjects. So we do obviously all of the expected core subjects, so sciences, maths, and English. There's also Islamic studies, French and Spanish, geography and history. There is loads of other subjects. I mean, computer science as well. I'll talk to you a little bit about the STEM focus, since I'm a science teacher. It makes sense to bring that up. So, being a Cambridge accredited school with a strong STEM focus, especially for the secondary school, is one of the sort of main pulls, the main goals, I guess, for the school. So focusing on science, maths, English, and computer science. Our sciences are taught, every science is taught twice a week. So physics, chemistry, biology all get 2 hours each, meaning that it's science focused, but it's not too much. Maths being delivered 4 times a week. Maths being delivered 4 times a week, and English is taught every day, which is covering language and literature, of course, and then computer science 2 to 3 times a week. So we've got a strong STEM focus for the secondary school, which is quite important, especially when we think of the British curriculum and the way that the British system do it. It is very STEM focused to allow our students to kind of go on and pursue career paths that will be aligned with their interests, but also aligned with these sort of technical careers and jobs. Okay, let's start talking through my points anyway. So again, I kind of have a little introduction, but I'll keep going. So the main focus of today is talking about the online education system and if it's going to be right for you and your child. And obviously we're here to kind of deal with any concerns that you might have, and answer any questions that you might have. So as always, please feel free to put any questions in the chat as they come through, as you think of them. I'm happy to answer them in real time. The main goal of Heaven, being an online school, is to create this sort of engaging and nurturing environment, but also to generate well-rounded students. And having a virtual learning system does allow students to have positive academic progress, but as well as supporting their emotional well-being and making sure that they still get a decent level of social interaction. And that is one thing that I'm going to talk about with you in a minute, is the ways that we make sure the students socialise with each other. But all in all, being online doesn't mean being detached. It is just a way of, it can be better for some students, in the sense of it provides them with more comfort, but still giving them a really decent, really good high-level education. So the idea with being an online school is that it's quite flexible. So we work within our set hours, but being online, it's easier for the students, it's more flexible for the students. It's also very inclusive. It allows people from students from all over the world in all different backgrounds to join and get this really good education. And our learning environment is interactive. So our classes, being small groups, are very, very interactive. There is a big focus on student engagement within class. We are ultimately trying to make sure that our students can be confident and independent, but we're prioritizing inquiry-based learning, making sure that students are able to do projects together and able to analyze information rather than just memorizing things. Because again, this goal is not only to produce better scientists, better linguists, better mathematicians, but it's also to make your child a more well-rounded and learned and emotionally supported student. We're trying to produce students that are curious and capable, not just those who have remembered things. And again, the main focus here, it's not just the academic growth, although that is important, but it is also emotional and social development too. Hello to those who are just coming in. So let's talk a little bit about wellbeing, because being an online school, obviously this might be an area of concern for you. How do we make sure the students are okay? How do we make sure that they are learning successfully? Those kind of things. How do we check in with our students? Well, the first point, I guess, is that we do have regular emotional check-ins with the students. So the students will have a member of staff who works with that year group and who makes sure that they're doing well, that they're okay, make sure that they feel good with all of their learning, with their other classmates, and then obviously if any issues do arise, those are then dealt with the pastoral team, who can deal with the issues if they are there, with parents, with teachers. So we've got those regular check-ins, and we have the admin are on hand almost 24/7. They are really good. It's being online, it means that the admin team are almost always available practically immediately, which just wouldn't be possible if we were offline. We also make sure that not only do the students have this aspect, but also there is a balance between online and offline activities. So most of the, for example, most of the homework tasks that are set to be offline activities, at least from my side of things, from the science side of things. We do have a lot of screen time during the day. So outside of that, we make sure that there is a nice balance between offline and online activities. The other thing that I will mention is the community that we've built online for the students, because again, this is something that I will talk a little bit more about in a second, but the students are encouraged to discuss things together within classes. They're encouraged to occasionally work on group projects together as well, which would be communicating through the social media, through the Discord channel that the school has, and this is going to ensure then that we've got a nice community that is respectful, and that everyone, not just the students talking to each other, but the students also communicating with the teachers or the admin can do as well. Okay. All right. So we've spoken a little bit about wellbeing, but let's also talk about the academic success at Heaven. So as I mentioned very briefly at the start, Heaven is a Cambridge accredited school now. So we follow the Cambridge curriculum for the secondary school years. And I also mentioned our very qualified teaching staff who all very much care about our students and what we're doing. The online system that we use is very nuanced, it's very modern. It has some very good tools. We're able to embed websites and share videos. Obviously we can share our screen. We have an interactive whiteboard. We have the chat function that the students can use if we are not discussing aloud, for example. The online classroom is effectively more interactive than a classroom, in my eyes anyway. And as I mentioned as well, the groups that we have, the class sizes are a very small group. And again, this means that us as teachers, we are able to monitor and support every student individually, as well as making sure that the students are communicating with each other. Obviously, in a school environment, you would occasionally get a partner activity, but you would never normally get a group project. It would be much more rare. But with our online classes, we're able to put the students into breakout rooms and allow them to do tasks together, or allow them to do tasks individually, of course. But it means that the students can communicate more effectively with each other and with us as teachers too. We can monitor their progress better as well. And then coming back to the social interaction that I mentioned before. So, as I said, we have the group classes as live group classes. They're small, very small groups. So sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 students, but we have small group classes, and we do focus on peer discussion. So quite often the students go into breakout rooms to discuss the answer to a question, or to discuss a topic or whatever, or to make questions themselves sometimes. But we will also have in-class discussion with the teacher present. It kind of just depends on what's going on. But again, we're giving the students time to discuss together. But outside of the more academic side of things, there are also clubs and activities. And I mentioned about collaborative projects as well, making sure the students can do projects together, so that they get that sort of one-on-one time, or two-on-two time, I guess it depends how big the group is, with each other. And apart from this, we also have community events online that parents and students are allowed to join. I mean, we quite often do sort of, what's the phrase I'm looking for? We quite often do online sessions where we'll learn something with I can't find the words. We'll learn something with an expert. There was a workshop recently where the students learned about volcanoes, and it was kind of a link between geography and science, and they had a really great time with that. And then that obviously fostered quite a lot of discussion within the students as well, talking to each other about what they enjoyed and talking with us as teachers. So that was a really nice activity that happened. Just one of the examples of some of the stuff that's happened recently for that. And in terms of making sure that our students are confident, as I said, group projects are a big thing. This then often translates into presentations or public speaking. So quite often, sometimes in science we have activities, for example, to present a topic that we've learned recently, and this gives the students a chance to kind of have this public speaking example, still in the comfort of their peer group, so they are confident but also allowed to develop that confidence into something even better. Other public speaking opportunities that have come since I started at the school was the student council. The student council is really good. It allows for the head of the year for the student council to discuss any issues that they might have, which not only obviously helps them to express their emotions, their feelings, allows them to build their confidence, but it also means that the students can discuss with us any issues that they might have. It gives them more opportunity to speak their mind. We also allow for there to be certain leadership roles within classroom activities, within lessons. So sometimes we might get a student to take the lead on a certain task, for example. And our whole sort of goal here is to make sure that the students feel celebrated and feel like we are supporting them, because we are making sure that every milestone, every achievement that they have, we make sure that we tell them we've seen it, we've heard it, and that we're proud of them. I think that was lightning. This is not great weather for this. But yeah, so we quite often, an example of the achievements and milestones that I can share with you, on the Discord channel that we have, I quite often see pictures of, especially the younger year groups, of their work, their science experiments, their artwork, their DT creations, their food tech creations, and we get to react to that in real time, which again is another benefit of this online system, that we have this good communication where a parent is able to say, oh, look at what my child did, and we can all say, wow, that's a really good thing that they've done, well done to them, and then we can then celebrate that with them. So we are always trying to make sure that the students can grow, make sure that they feel confident, and make sure that they feel supported, so that they can go on to have more independence, to develop their life skills, and to just generally be better students, better people in the long run. So we do, obviously, being online, there are some drawbacks in the sense of we can't control necessarily the environment that the students are in. So we do recommend certain things to make sure that that your child and that the students thrive in these environments. So a couple of really important things that we can recommend for you to make sure that we have open communication between the parents and potentially the students and the teachers and support staff. As I said, there is a really good admin team, and all of the teachers are always on hand to discuss any potential issues you might have. I mean, we all have our work emails that you're more than welcome to contact us through if there is a specific issue or question or concern. But otherwise, the admin team are always there to deal with any concerns or questions you might have. And again, because we are online most often, it's pretty quick, and we can deal with anything that comes up relatively quickly. But it does have to remain as open communication. Another really big thing that I would like to emphasize the most is to have a dedicated space at home to learn from. It's really important for the students to have the stability of somewhere where they can go to learn. It makes it much easier. They're in the comfort of their own home, of course, but it makes it much easier for them to foster a good learning environment there. And obviously, we offer all of these different extracurricular activities, but again, we can't necessarily force the students to do it. So it's beneficial for parents, for you guys, to encourage your students to take part in these activities and to become part of the community, because it is a community. The HLA has a lovely little community between students, between parents, between teachers, and when the students join in to these extracurriculars and they join in together, again, we get this, we see these social connections forming that they might not have otherwise. And as I mentioned, with the screen time and having off-screen time as well, balancing academic time with physical activities and social time is really important. Now, we do PE at Heaven, and we do encourage PE, but also outside of the school environment, encouraging extra physical activities and social time with other people and in other situations is obviously important, and to make sure that the students are successful. So, to wrap up this bit so far, online schooling, it can be a very important, rewarding, transformative experience when it's done right. Obviously, HLA have the tools to deliver a brilliant education, but also to make your child develop into a very well-rounded being. But it's not just the school, it also takes effort from the students and from the parents, of course. So doing all of those things that I mentioned before to make sure that the students get the most out of the school is important. As with any school, we have to make sure that the students are supported inside and outside of the classroom. So it's very important that it's not just Heaven, it's also you as parents to make sure that your students get the best out of their education. So I think that is pretty much me done rambling. Are there any questions before I give you your exclusive discount code? That is very exciting. Oh yes, that's a good point. Any inquiries, we have a WhatsApp phone number in the chat. So if anyone has any is interested in joining the school, that is the place to go to. But any questions now, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, I will go ahead and give the discount code. Okay, so we're as part of this live event, as a thank you for being here, and as a maybe a little bit of an incentive to get you to come to the school, we're offering 5% off the tuition fees if you use the code Heaven Learning Academy 678. So you're more than welcome to inquire via the WhatsApp, or there is also an email address that can be put in the chat as well. Do we do music? Of course we do music, yes. How do we assign books to the students? That's a great question. The books, as in the course contents, are all available on the system. So that's important. The books on the English curriculum, as far as I am aware, are in line with the curriculum. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? It's in line with the with what we are teaching for year 7 and 8, and then year 9 upwards they do the literature books that would be relevant for their IGCSE. Any other questions? Oh, I missed this one earlier about recording it. So yeah, this is that's a good point. Thank you for answering that. Yes, we do record all of the sessions. So every single class is recorded, which is not only a good thing for the students, because they're able to review the content if they've missed the lesson, or if they're just revising, or if they're studying for a test, for example, they're able to review. But also it's good for you as parents and for us as teachers to go back, especially if there's any issues or any concerns that might have been raised within the lesson. We can always go back and investigate what might have happened. So that's good. And something I didn't mention actually that I would like to mention is the career advisor. Okay, there's lots of questions now, hold on. Let me talk about the career advisor quickly. So we do have a dedicated career advisor in the school who works with students to identify their strengths, to help them to be guided towards a better career opportunity, towards what they might want to do. This is going to help the students' personal and professional development, right? So they can develop towards their career. What else have we got here? What about equipment for science projects? Most of the time, the science experiments that we do, the ones that are, or at least most of the ones that I do, are all stuff that students would have in their house for the most part. So, for example, recently we did an experiment where we were investigating acids and bases, and so we added lemon juice with bicarbonate of soda, which is an acid and a base, and we saw the reaction, and all that took was some lemons and some bicarbonate, which most people had in their cupboard. So yeah, most of the time the science experiments, unless they are really complicated, they can be done with the equipment that you have at home. We also can suggest, it's not mandatory, but we can suggest, if you'd like to purchase this kit to make circuits, then you can, so that the students can physically hold something that they might not be able to that already have in the house. So that's something that we do too. but obviously that's never it's never forced, just suggested sometimes. Do you have online library access for all students? Yes, we do. So the students have access to a wide range of different books and things that they can access. What makes heaven stand out? Oh, that's a very broad question. That's a very broad question. I would say, to kind of repeat what I said earlier, I would say the one thing for me that makes heaven stand out the most is it's the connectivity. So everyone is connected most of the time, and they are able to grow together and learn together. Our teachers are brilliant. I mean, all of the teachers here are brilliant. They are really good. They are not only just caring about the subject they're teaching, but they're caring about the students. And again, we are trying to develop the students' life skills. We're trying to allow them to be self-directed. We're allowing them to be independent. It's a more realistic way of attending school. Being online means that the students are able to grow at their own rate a little bit more than being in school. They can excel further ahead than most other schools. How do you follow up with the students? Pastorally or in lessons, because there is obviously quite a different. What specifically do you do with students with SEND? Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So we do have quite a lot of SEND students in the school. We have provisions in place within those specific lessons for those SEND students. I have a couple of SEND students in the younger years, and we just make sure that our learning is suited for them. So being a small group class, we are able to make sure that the students get supported no matter what their needs are. But we also have the ability to, if a student does need one-on-one or even a smaller group, two students to one teacher instead of three, for example, we are able to do that. We had that with a couple of students recently. They were put into what we were calling an intervention class to allow them to become confident enough to come back into the main group. And then at that point, obviously, any of their learning can be done. The teachers know those students' needs. We get to know the students very well, exactly the same as if they were our students in a physical building in a school. We get to know them very well. We see them every day. We know exactly what they need. We know what will help them learn, and we can make sure that they're supported that way. How are students assessed, and how frequently do parents receive progress reports? That's a good question. So the students are assessed very, very frequently, especially as we go into the secondary curriculum. At least for me in science, we do standard tests every term, so at the end of every term, but the students get assessed in my classes practically every week. We are always working through, it's not an assessment, it's practice, it's exam practice, so that they aren't scared when they come to do an assessment. So we're always working through past paper questions. We're always working through any particular topics that they might need a little bit of support on. We're always revising them. We like to, or at least I'd like to make sure that they are aware of every style of question that could be asked. So we will do multiple choice, we will do tick box, we'll do written answers, we'll do long answers, we'll do 6 markers. We'll make sure basically that the students are prepared for whatever might come up. And again, this is relatively frequently. The progress reports is a good question. One of the others might be able to help, but we definitely send out a progress report at the end of the school year. I'm not sure if it happens any more frequently than that, though. What document is offered at the end of school year? What do you mean? What document? So at the end of the school year, we would send out the students' results. Although we have parents' evening, parents' day, parents' meetings at the end of the term. So after the mocks, after the exams, when the students' results come in, we can then obviously discuss with the parents how the students are getting on. Do we teach languages? Yes, I mentioned this. Absolutely, we teach French, Spanish, Islamic studies. That's right. For any year that might want it. Yeah, I teach French to the year 9s now. Well, they're year 10s now technically. So we do that too. Cooking online, that's a good question. I don't teach food tech, but I have seen many beautiful creations from food tech. The students make all sorts of lovely things. They've been making sandwiches and salads and smoothies and all sorts of things, which is really interesting. Have I missed any questions? How will my kids take the exams, online or offline? Okay, that's a really good question. So throughout the school system, the exams that they sit within the school, so not their IGCSEs, but the mocks and the exams within the school are online. So they join a class with one teacher, and the teacher will sit there with them. They will do the exam using a screen share. They'll write their answers, and then when that's done, obviously, then they will set it, download it and send it over to the teacher marking it. So the exams are online, but it is in exam conditions. They are invigilated, and then obviously at the end of the secondary school, if you're doing whatever IGCSE subject you're doing, you will sit that in an exam centre. So that would be offline unless you had any specific exam conditions which would require you to use a computer. If I have concerns, am I allowed to contact teachers? Okay, good question. So you're not allowed to contact the teachers. If you do need to contact a teacher for any specific reason, you're more than welcome to through the Heaven emails, but it's probably easier to go through the admin. The admin account is a better place to start. They are quite often able to streamline and allow us to get to the root of any problem quicker and more effectively without going back and forth. Oh, how do you keep students engaged during online lessons? That's really interesting. We use a number of different techniques. Like I said, we have the breakout rooms where the students are encouraged to talk to each other. We have a lot of interactive activities. We use a ton of different online resources like IXL for quizzes. We also use Quizzes and Quizlet, BlueKit, Kahoot for interactive quizzes. But also we have like online phonics classes and online books for younger years English. There's loads of different things. A lot of the teaching is student-led teaching rather than teacher-led teaching, which what I mean by that is that obviously the teacher is teaching, but the students are more often discussing what they think and giving their point of view. That's kind of the goal for me in my classes, is to make sure that the students lead, and that then they get to the answer. They get to the right answer. They get to the right topic. They start. It's less teacher talking and more student talking, I think, is to sum up what I'm saying. What about Heaven Learning Academy certificate? Is it recognised worldwide in terms of applying for colleges? So it's just like being at any other school, right? At the end of your school year 11, you take your exams. So you would take IGCSEs. IGCSEs are international GCSEs that are recognised. They're recognised worldwide in the same way that if you were living in the UK, you would take GCSEs, which would be recognised nationwide. So it's not a certificate from the school. They are standard GCSEs. They're Cambridge IGCSE exams. So yes, that would be fine. Am I allowed to see the teacher anytime, or do you have to contact admin? Good question. We can do teacher-parent meetings if there are concerns. Again, I would say that it's probably easier to contact the admin first and just make sure that you can't resolve your issue or your question any other way first, because obviously our teachers are busy teaching most of the time, so better to go through the admin just to make sure first. How many subjects are mandatory for year 11? That's a good question. I don't think we have standard mandatory subjects, but someone can correct me if I'm wrong. In a perfect world, the students would be doing their core subjects, English, maths and science, and then they would be doing an additional 4 oh my goodness, I've lost the word, an additional 4 courses. But again, it's very flexible being online and being with Heaven. If a student is struggling with the workload, they have less workload. So we've had some students who have sat some IGCSEs 1 year and then waited for another year and then sat some more. That's quite a nice way of doing it to spread out the workload for them if they are struggling. My student has never had online learning before. Am I allowed to join the class with my child? It's preferable that you let your child do the lesson on their own, not only for them to engage better with the class and with the community, but also so that they can learn better. You have to, there's kind of an element of when the student joins the class, it's similar to if a student was going into school. You wouldn't be able to be in the classroom in the school with the students. So it's advised that you let your child go to their dedicated workspace, wherever that may be in the house, and that you let them do their lesson. Rest assured, obviously, that we will take care of them. And if they do have any issues, as I said before, there is many different members of staff who can help, who can answer any questions or deal with any concerns that they might have. But rest assured, yeah, your children will be in good hands with us. I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but with everyone else too. They will be in good hands. Any other questions? Did I miss any? I don't think I did. Anything else from anyone before we wrap up? I think I've gone through most of the stuff. Yeah, I think that might be it. I'll give you like 30 more seconds to ask any other questions that you might have. But yeah, that's a good point. Let's remind you one more time that if you are interested in enrolling, you can reach out to the admin team, who will get back to you quickly. Okay. Alright, I think that's everything then, if there's no other questions. Obviously, if anyone does think of any other questions that they have, feel free to let us know. And we'll be happy to respond to any of them. Okay. Alright, well, thank you for joining us, everyone. I hope that this has been helpful. And sorry for the technical issues at the start. Hopefully next time we'll be more streamlined. So there we go. All right. So I hope everyone has an amazing week, as it's only Monday. And I will hopefully see your children in the school soon. All right. Thank you for joining us. I will see you guys later.